Hi guys, I'm gonna get serious. So I put on my serious shawl and my esoteric jewelry. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to title this. I've been thinking, which I do on occasion, thinking about how I ended up here in Zone 12. And this morning I was listening to some stuff on YouTube. I listened to Elke Neher, who does a lot of healing music. I recommend that. And I was listening to Doreen Virtue, who does a weekly card reading. And I don't know which one of them brought this up, but I recalled something I hadn't thought about for many, many years, which was that my last year of college, I was put on the list of interviewees because back in those days, one expected to get a fabulous job with a college degree, especially from the university I ended up going to. And I put my name on the list and missed my first interview because it was snowing. We had really bad weather on campus that week. And this was back in the 70s, before emails, before cell phones, and they wouldn't call you up. Although we did have a phone for the people in the apartment. I don't think they knew my number. So I neglected to walk over to the building on campus that had the list, and I missed my first interview, which subsequently threw me off all the interviews that I could have been eligible for. So thanks to that one act of laziness, I ended up not being a corporate cog. So thank you, universe, because I don't think I would have made it. This morning, I was listening, like I said, to Elke Neher and the pain body. I've had given my pain body a whole lot of attention the last year or so, through whether it was a tick bite or a natural deterioration of the body. I have put myself into a state of immobility. I let the pain body take over, and though I haven't yet been to a psychologist about it, I'm wondering how much of the pain body manifested itself through people in my family who had mobility issues. My partner had mobility issues. My brother had mobility issues. I spent quite a few years driving people about, and while I guess superficially I was sympathetic, I didn't understand how the mobility affected them as a person, and I've basically been wallowing in my discomfort for the last year or so. I've decided it's time to move on. Now, a pain body can come from prior generations as well. I watched Alejandro Jodorowsky talk about this. I'm trying to move my glasses so you don't see the reflection. Yeah, I could do this, and then you can see the bags under my eyes. But I saw him on a video once take a film crew, and he just had two people randomly, you're A and you're B, and he had other people act out the parts of their parents and grandparents, and stories came out. And they say, oh, this happened in my family, that my uncle killed his son by mistake, and my grandfather this, and my grandmother that. And pain can come down and down and down through generations, whether it's vocally acknowledged or not. And on the one hand, I'm wondering how much of my pain body came from guilt over not being kinder to people I could have been. And I'm also wondering how much of my pain body has passed on to my children, because we don't do it consciously. At least I would hope we don't do it consciously. Why am I talking about pain on a Sunday afternoon? Because I'm going through it. When I say through it, I mean I'm through with it. I'm totally through with it. And I find a great humor in some of my discomfort. For example, I went to the psychologist. Maybe I should. I went to the chiropractor on Friday, and there are chairs, and then there's this really low couch. And when I came in with my cane, the father and son who were on the couch moved over from me. And even though it was terribly difficult for me to get down on the couch and even harder to get up, I went and I took that seat because they had offered it to me. And as soon as they'd gone in, I had moved. But I could have refused it, but I took their offer, which was ultimately painful for me. There's a movie coming out called The Big Sick. You've probably seen it advertised all over YouTube. And I want to see that movie very badly, but I'm afraid that I'm going to cry and whine if I go to see it in the theaters, because the trailer itself is making me cry. Now, I'm not a big rom-com fan, but I am a Bollywood fan. And Bollywood movies, if you knew anything about Bollywood movies, are all about the romantic drama. And I was thinking to myself, boy, it's going to make a big difference. You see, if this movie was made in South Asia, the protagonist would end up with the Pakistani girl. But since it's based on real life, the movie is actually written by the star and his wife about their relationship. Since it's real life, the ending is not what people expect. What does that mean? I said in my last video that the world is a mixed bouquet now, and we gotta get a handle on that mixedness. We got to acknowledge the mixedness. We got to move forward. If I'm going to move forward in my body, I have to take charge of whatever is giving me the discomfort. Do I have to know the exact reason for it? We used to say this when I went to drug school. Is it important to know how the addiction started, or does one stop the addiction? Do you really need the backstory before you fix the symptom? It's like if you go into a hospital with a broken leg. Do they really want to know, what kind of car hit you, or the fact that your leg is broken? That has to be addressed first. So right now I'm addressing the symptom. And I guess the reason it happened to me, the reason my disability happened to me, I may never know. It may be a whole bag of grapes. It may be a bunch of things. It may be the tick bite, or it may be heredity. Does it matter? Does it matter? Did one action change me into the person I am now? One action 40 some odd years ago led to my being here instead of in some penthouse, which is good, because if I'd been rich, I probably would have been a real rich bitch. As it is, I'm a working class bitch, which means my vitriol doesn't spread too far. Why am I going on like this? Where was I going with this? I was going with the pain body, and it turned into a rant about how unrealistic the movies are. Oh, what a surprise. I'm through. It's almost 9 minutes, and I think I've done enough damage. Talk to you next week. Bye.